The Hizmet Movement seeks to bring peace. Peace through understanding, peace through respect, and therefore love of our fellow people, regardless of where they live or what their faith traditions are. Really relate to people who have been affected by a disaster. I believe from my experiences with the Subtitles Initiative and Institute and I'm Sandra Frankel, a resident of the Town of Brighton, adjacent to the city of Rochester in upstate Western New York. For about 20 years, I served as the supervisor of the Town of Brighton, which is like mayor of the town, and was elected to that position, began my tenure in 1992, and through that time made a tremendous amount of progress in the community to improve the quality of life, the financial standings of the town. Education was a passion of mine prior to taking on that role, because I served as well as a leader in the school board organization for our local schools and countywide. I'm been married to my husband, Dr. Neil A. Frankel, for 50 years. We're celebrating that anniversary this year. We have 3 children and 8 grandchildren. And I'm very excited about the idea of collaborating, working in partnership with the Turkish community here in the greater Rochester area. I was the Democratic Party nominee for Lieutenant Governor of New York State in 1998, and have been very active and involved as an advocate for social justice, economic justice in not only our community but across the state. The Hizmet Movement, I believe, is one that is built on values that we share across many faith traditions and different political perspectives, because it brings people together. It's based on respect, advocates the importance of love and understanding, and that all leads to peace. So it really has value. As I've met people who are supportive of the movement or who know about the movement and believe that it has really fine human qualities, what I see is an openness, a willingness to promote good causes that many of us share, like education, the value of education in preparing our young people for a better quality of life and for opportunity and hope. Education is core. The importance of providing humanitarian services and support to people in need, whether from international or local tragedies, disasters, to people who are living in poverty, who need assistance in order to be able to live a reasonable life. The Hizmet Movement seeks to bring peace. Peace through understanding, peace through respect, and therefore love of our fellow people, regardless of where they live or what their faith traditions are, what their political views are. All of those things come down to the basic humanity that we all share. We're brothers and sisters, and that's something that really matters. They represent Islam from the perspective of peace, and while there are different aspects to Islam and people who espouse Islam as their faith, but who take on more aggressive, violent actions that create terrorism, foster war, that's alien to what I understand the Hizmet movement to be. And so the teachings of Islam that are based on peace and understanding and respect are ones that I believe are going to promote a better future for us wherever we live on this planet. I believe from my experiences with the Peace Islands Initiative and Institute and the events that have occurred here in the Rochester area, they're very open and inclusive. My husband and I are of the Jewish faith. Our daughter lives in Israel and traveled to Istanbul when we went to Turkey in 2010. And we have always been received with respect and a genuine affection. And we share mutual respect. I see that among the people here in Rochester from Turkey who are involved in these events, who really reach out to the broad community. It's a broad-based effort to make connections, to build relationships, to establish trust, and to work together for the common good, regardless of what perspective we come from. And so it's been a delightful experience. I was honored to be asked to serve as an advisor to the Turkish Cultural Center, and I've continued my involvement with them because I believe that the work that they're doing is good work. Education is critically important to all societies and to our future. If our kids aren't well educated, don't have the skills that they need to be productive in civic and economic life of our countries and our communities, then we're all headed for trouble. So the focus on education is key, and I see a tremendous commitment to quality education here in the Rochester area from members of the Turkish Cultural Center and the community. Charitable work really has to relate to the people who have been affected by a disaster, regardless of what their faith happens to be, what their nationality or race is. It really is based on helping other human beings survive and move beyond such tragic kinds of situations. And across the world, we see charitable efforts like those of the Hizmet Movement, as well as so many other NGOs, not-for-profits, and individuals who contribute funds, goods, services to help those who have been the victims of such tragedies and disasters. It doesn't matter what your religion is. You ought to be able to help other people because they're part of the human family. And if a tragedy happened in your community, if it happened, you'd want help to come from anywhere. That's why crossing those boundaries of religion, of race, of nationality, ethnicity, have to be permeable. Those boundaries have to be permeable so that we can help one another. And the Hizmet movement, I think, is important for helping non-Muslims as well as Muslims who are in need. And that's something that so many organizations here in America and in other parts of the world do as well. The Red Cross doesn't pick a place and say we're only going to help one particular group of people. We're going to help everyone who happens to have been affected by floods or earthquakes or tornadoes. It's really important to look at this as a humanitarian effort, not as a religious or ethnic kind of situation. I was invited by the Turkish Cultural Center of Rochester to travel to Turkey in 2010 when my husband and I were invited to travel to Turkey. In all honesty, a trip to Turkey was not one of our highest priorities for travel, but we decided to go. We were interested, and I will tell you that I was so surprised at what I learned, what I saw, the people I met. It opened my eyes, and I was able to have a very different kind of reaction to Turkey than I had had before. It was a very positive experience, and one that I believe worked for the benefit of Turkey. Probably if the Peace Islands Initiative, the Turkish Cultural Center of Rochester, the Hizmet Movement had not been active here in upstate Western New York, I might not have gotten to Turkey. And that relationship is one that builds cultural understanding. It can help promote business opportunities in both places. It can promote friendships that can help to cement when there are issues of difference, when there are tensions, when there are problems that arise. Having that common base of understanding and friendship, I believe, helps the dialogue and helps the problem solving that has to come in a peaceful way, not a way that calls on force.
You know, one of the emphasis in Imam Gulen's teachings that I think really underlies a lot of the work of the dialogue organizations and education, social service, media, business, is this idea that all humans are fundamentally alike and that the ultimate membership in this world created by God or Allah is human.
When are we thinking about Hizmet and what they accomplish today worldwide? In my humble opinion, I believe they are providing something that's extremely necessary at the current date.